Hey guys, Norman Thatch here. Hope everyone's doing well. I wanted to do a video on DNA replication and kind of provide a more visual example of what DNA replication is. So my first question was, what is DNA replication? And so basically DNA replication is the process by which DNA makes a copy of itself during cell division. So to break it down even further, it basically is DNA replicating itself. It's in the name. So there are three steps that make DNA replication. There's the initiation step, the elongation step, and the termination step. First, we're going to talk about the initiation step. So at the initiation step, you can see here is that the proteins start to bind to the origin of replication. And here you can see, while that happens, that the heliocase unwinds the DNA helix. And then you can see here that the two replication forks are formed to the origin of the replication. So you can see the fork happening. So that's the initiation step. The second step, it's skipped. The second step is the elongation step. So with the elongation step, a primer sequence is added with a complementary RNA and nucleotides, which are then replaced by DNA nucleotides. And then you can see that the leading strand, which is the template strand, is made continuously, whereas the lagging strand, which is the strand of the template strand, is made in pieces. And you can even see it, how it's like, this is a full line and these are breaking up into pieces. So then the pieces themselves are called the Okazaki fragment. And you can see it kind of point at it right here. So that is the elongation step. Lastly, our third step is the termination step. And the termination step occurs when two replication forks meet on the same stretch of DNA. There's a couple of things that happen here, and they're not all in the same order. But basically, the forks start to converge until all intervening DNA is unwound, as well as the other thing that happens is another remaining gaps are filled and ligated. And then the catenins are removed. And lastly, the replication proteins are unloaded. So this all kind of happens in different times, and it's no specific place where it happens, but it all has to happen in the termination step. And lastly, the most important thing is, why is this important? So DNA replication is important because it reproduces cells of organisms are dependent on DNA replication. So basically, the reproduction of cells and organisms are dependent on DNA replication, as well as it allows for organisms to be reproduced from the parent. And the info stored in the DNA is essentially for life, which is us, which is why I chose the baby picture. And as my final thoughts, I thought I would show this nice GIF of kind of an example of what DNA replication kind of does. But yeah, it's very important, DNA replication, and I kind of learned that, and you think it's kind of just like, oh, look at this, but it actually is a very important part of us and organisms in general. So yeah, I also really liked the Agent Smith reference. As you can see, my thing has a lot of references. And these are my sources. So thank you. Hope everyone has a great rest of the semester. And yeah, goodbye.